Hello, students in the Livable Cities class. This is Steve Cramer. I am the research librarian for your class, and at the request of Dr. Sultana, created a short overview video about how to do data research for your class, for this class, your cities and your neighborhoods within the cities. So let me share screen. I have a few things I want to show you before I get into some other details. So if you're in Canvas, notice there is a library resources link over here on the navigation list on the left side, which gives you a link to a guide I created for this class. And I recommend you kind of break it out into its own window, and then you have full functionality and the links work fine. I'm not going to show you everything on this page before I get into a few slides, but just highlights here. Notice on the right side, my information. There's only a chat box here, which I don't see right now in this space, maybe because I'm opening it through Canvas, but also email links, scheduling tool, etc. On the left side, some guides to census data, including demographic data that we can get to with annual data from the American Community Survey, ACS. A little more about that in a minute, among other topics regarding how to do data collection for this class. But I also have some more detailed guides for the market data aspects. It's demographic data about markets too. Socialized guides, pages just on Policy Map and Simply Analytics. I'll show you a couple examples of these two products. Some economy industry links I have. Citation guides. You're required to use APA for your class, as you probably know. And I have guides on this page, PDFs, to how to cite databases and ACS government data, how to cite AI, and how to cite uh, tables, figures, maps, and graphs. So those are all available for you here, among other possibilities. I'm going to show you a few examples from this slide deck, which I already have open. Looks like this. I won't read all this to you. I'm not going through all the slides, but I do want to highlight a few things. First off, you have, as you may know, a wide variety of types of data or variables available to you to measure and assess livability, right? So look at this list. I won't read this to you, I know. I won't, I promise. But notice the variety here. We had demographic data, census data that's about who we are and how we live, but also psychographic data, and that's more of a marketing term, meaning survey data on behaviors, lifestyles, attitudes, lifestyles. And you can see that in the mix here as well. I'll show you I'll point out how to get to some of these things. And I have a reference here to the guy, which you already know about. Moving on. And notice that you're required, I'm looking at your research guide here, or rather your assignment description, you are required to also look at neighborhood data, comparing neighborhoods. In terms of data, that means one of two things, census tracts or block groups. And you can see there, tracts 4,000 persons on average, block groups 2,000 persons on average. A little bit more about that. A center column here, this is a schematic of the core census geographies that they cover. Center column are all nested geographies from biggest nation up to smallest block groups. They all fit inside each other, and you'll see an illustration of this in a moment. So you'll be using tracts and block groups among cities. Cities fall under the category of places, by the way, because cities, can also be townships and villages and towns and other types of or municipality legal definitions. But tracks, again, 4,000 persons, block groups, 4,000 persons. Here's an example of that. So Texas, over the western corner, El Paso County, which has a number of census tracts, and each census tract can be broken down into usually two block groups, and you can see examples there. So that's how they're all nested. And if you're looking at data, and for example, here's local data. I just pulled this up really quickly to get a screenshot on income data by block groups in the triad, at least Guilford and Forsyth counties, as you can see. So each polygon, each small shape is a block group, about 2,000 persons. And you can see the ranges there and see some disparities and similarities between wealth and poverty and everything in between in the two counties using block group levels. While I'm at it, another example here. I mentioned psychographics. Here's an example. This is a survey question. Do you volunteer often for a good cause? And I've changed to Seattle just for change of pace. Still block groups, and we can now measure volunteerism in any city because this data is in Simply Analytics. Another tool, though, I pointed out already, just my guide on this page, Policy Map, which doesn't have the behavioral data but has census data like Simply Analytics does, but also some other very interesting social science data points, including this new data set they have that they call housing unit gaps, which they did in partnership with Moody's Analytics, a research company. And so actually, this might be really interesting data for you all to use, as well as the other examples I've given you. For example, is housing undersupplied or not in a certain neighborhood or throughout the whole city? Hot topic nowadays with affordability, and that's in Policy Map. So examples of tracks and block groups as a way to break down the cities you're looking at in terms of subunits, including neighborhood level data. Just summarizing, I'm going to probably, I might stop with this slide. But I mentioned census data. You're not using 2020, there's no census. You're using annual data collected from the American Community Survey. This is how we get almost all our demographic data now. It's been this way since 2005. So this is not new. It's been around for 20 years now. Which you can get to, as you can see there, from the census website, also from City Analytics and Policy Map, which are also listed here. And DataX. So if you want to look at locations, like where are the restaurants, where are the libraries, where are the parks, that is one way for you to look at and measure and map and identify simply those types of organizations as top of any demographic data that you're trying to measure and map and make tables from using Signal Analytics and Policy Map. There's details on this slide deck, which again is on the research guide if you want to dig deeper. Final thing, just a note again, I'm in your class. I'm embedded in Canvas. I am been working with this class a long time. If I can support you with your data collection and any other aspects of the class, citations, whatever, let me know. Happy to help you. And you can use the information on this page and also in Canvas to contact me. That's it. Thank you very much. Good luck with your project and have a good semester. Bye-bye.